Welcome to today's video. So what we're going to be doing is I've been challenged to cook in a tiny kitchen in a friend's van. So Bec and Eamon have been traveling around the world for about 7 years. They've now upgraded to a beautiful camper van. The kitchen is incredibly small, so I'm a little bit afraid, and they've challenged me that if my dinner isn't good enough, I gotta go home on a one board. So I'm a little bit nervous, I'm excited, and here we go. Great. This is the kitchen. That's it.
This is the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, the bathroom. it's all of it.
It's phenomenal. It really is. It's, you know, people spend a lot of money on a house with a view, and like you can literally change your view every day.
Yes.
Hey, we don't want too many people to know about this life.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
And the rug adds a sense of I'm at home.
You got to make yourself at home today.
Okay,
so
I gotta cook.
This is your
Are
space.
you giving me a time frame, or am I just cooking, or?
No, so you've got full access to the kitchen.
Okay, there's limited access.
There's limited tools.
Okay.
But there's you can use anything you'd like.
Okay, so the setting, I think I'm allowed to use whatever's here. I gotta cook a dinner. You gotta mark it at 10. It's gotta get over
11.
Okay, right, 11, right, feeling a bit under pressure. Okay, great, I'll do my thing. And yeah, we need a bit of jeopardy, don't we? What do we get?
What
if jeopardy, like, as in, like, can he do it, can he not do it?
You get a lift home. Yeah.
I get a lift home, okay, if it's not good, no, okay.
Yeah, you got a one wheel all the way home.
Okay, right, oh jeez, that'd scare me a lot. Okay, great, okay, right, so I'll, I tend to be like many different cooks have different approaches, but I guess having, like, when we cooked in the kitchen at Happy Pear, the menu changes every day. Okay. So every day, so literally someone brings you this, what are you going to do? And it's like, no, I'll do this with it. And it's amazing with cooking how, like, literally, like, say 5 minutes before service time, it's like everything's all over the place, and you're like, you literally have to be so patient with the creative process, and kind of like, the dish hasn't told me what it wants to be. And as weird as that sounds, it's kind of like that. And having done it hundreds of times, like literally that 5 minutes before service is like, it just comes together, and it's like, where did that come from? And it's the same way. So with cooking, I tend to take this intuitive process that it just, you know, you start and you're not quite sure where it's going to go. Because I often find it a bit boring when you kind of, you know, you have oh, I have this recipe I'm going to do, as opposed to, no, I want to see what these ingredients are going to be today. You know, that way. So yeah, I guess everyone has a different approach. Okay, so we're seasoning the pot of water. Many people kind of tend to season things afterwards. I'm going to season things as we go. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing yet, but we'll work it out. So maybe we'll boil some of these and we'll fry them, we'll turn them into wedges, and they could go at some point, and then we could maybe do some little thinner ones that we could do to top something, and we could do that. I'm not sure as what, but we shall discover. It's amazing, although people could see this as a small kitchen, it's, you know, you're only as good as how equipped your kitchen is. Like our kitchen at Happy Pear is tiny to most people, but it's incredibly efficient because the space is so utilised. One of the most inefficient things about a big kitchen is there's so much surface area to randomly put things down inefficiently. So I would nearly say this is way more efficient than most kitchens. Normally with most dishes you'd start with some sort of an allium, fancy term for like an onion or a garlic or something like that, or maybe a shallot or maybe a leek or a scallion. But in the absence of that, we're going to kind of go more mirepoix style. So the basis of French cooking would be onion, garlic and celery. So I'm going to go more like an Italian soffritto. So I'm going to chop it nice and fine and use carrot as the base. So we get the pan nice and hot, a little bit of oil on. Oh, that's a decent bit of oil, excuse me. So what we're going to do is we're going to brown the surface initially, which will encourage a little bit of caramelization, which will be an indication of flavour development. And then I'm going to put water in, which will change the cooking process from frying to steaming, because the steaming will enable it to cook a little bit more to the centre. Let's see, a wooden spoon. Just here. Oh, that's cool. Look at that for a wooden spoon. Big shout out to whoever made that. Beautiful. You didn't make it, did you?
No.
But it's a local maker.
Okay, I didn't mean to undermine your spoon making abilities. Okay, so we go with another carrot.
We do have some garlic.
Oh, lovely. Oh, yeah, I love some garlic. Yeah, great. She's lovely as well. Like, you can literally chuck your compost in the hedge as well. There's something so connected as well. I could really get used to this outdoor cooking life. Okay, so you'll see, if you have a look in here in the camera, you'll see it's starting to brown, the carrot. Meaning the surface area is brown, but if I taste it, because carrot is quite a hard vegetable, it's the second sweetest of all veg, beetroot being the sweetest, it hasn't quite cooked through. So if I want to speed up the process, I'm going to just put a little bit of water in here and change it. Suddenly it's going to start steaming. Suddenly there's steam here in the pan. Okay, so I've got a can of black beans here. I'm just going to rinse them a little bit, remove the flatulence a little bit.
This guy thinks there's unlimited water here.
Oh,
My heart was like.
Oh, I'm sorry,
breaking.
jeez, I'm sorry. I'm getting used to sorry.
It goes to show you how
much water we use. Yeah, and how much water I use. So at the moment, like, I could mash them and kind of season them up, and we could make simple refried beans. But I think I'll go more down the chili road if we've enough veg here. I will use the fresh tomatoes. I love it. And we might use the nectarine to sweeten too. So we have a bit of a nectarine. Like, tomatoes can be a little bit acidic, and often you have to add a liquid sweetener, but I think we'll use this nectarine. Isn't quite perfectly ripe, but it'd be nice for sweetness and acidity. So it'd be nice kind of, if we stewed it down, it'd be nice. So we're just going to build out a simple tomato sauce really while our spuds cook. Spuds is Irish for potatoes. Okay, we leave that stew down. We'll start adding a few spices. So Mexican cooking, typically main spices as far as we tend to use cumin. Yeah, we use a little cayenne, sweet paprika. What else we got? Let's use a bit of this. Onion salt sounds nice, huh? So put a little bit of onion salt. Just again, we didn't have onion there, and onion typically at the base of most dishes is a lovely sweetness to it. And this looks to be roasted. So this is a sweet paprika. Paprika is Spanish for the word pepper. Typically paprika doesn't add that much flavour. Typically it adds a redness, very subtle sweetness. Cumin being my favourite one. I'm going to go with about a tablespoon and a half. A little bit of cayenne. I'll be a little bit gentle with it, just as we are in Ireland. So I went with a pinch. We can add more. So with chilli, you're always better going on the lighter side. You can add more. A little bit of oregano, just to add something a little bit. Typically not used in much in Mexican cooking, but it will add a nice freshness and a slight herbiness to it. So many people leave seasoning right till the end, but I think it's really important to season kind of all the way through. Like, as we're boiling the potatoes, we're boiling them in salty water. Ideally it should be the same salinity as seawater, which is 35 micrograms per litre, which is a lot of salt, but that's mainly for buoyancy. But you know, I put in about a tablespoon. Okay, so that needs a lot more salt. I could do with a bit of El Tamari. Tamari not used in Mexican cooking. For those of you who are going to comment below and say that, we know that. Thank you. But thank you for your knowledge. A little bit of tamari, it's just going to add a bit of that extra umami and depth of flavour. I guess if you had longer you wouldn't use it, and if you were being properly authentic. But you know, we're here in Ireland cooking Mexican food. You know, perdona, disculpa. So obviously nectarine not typically used in Mexican chili or a variation of it, but it will kind of stew down nicely, it release its sweetness, and could add a very subtle jamminess to it, which I'd like. You know, most stone fruits like this are quite sweet, but there is a bit of acidity to them. So you see the way it's starting to stick to the bottom here? A simple thing, just so you might get kind of worried and like, oh no, this is huge flavour. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of water, just pour it into the pan. This is called deglazing the pan. So I'm going to incorporate a lot of that flavour. And don't worry if the sauce suddenly goes really wet. We can just continue to cook and allow it to evaporate and reduce. Okay, so our sauce is coming together quite nice. It does need a little bit of acid, so I'm going to add a little bit of lemon, and I'll add that just before we serve it. If I add it now, the acidity will slightly, you know, it won't be as vibrant, it'll be a bit more dull. So I'm going to turn that back heat off, I believe, and leave that dish. I'm going to drain our spuds, also known as potatoes, because they're pretty much cooked. And we're going to change them, we're going to fry them. Okay, so we have a simple chili there as the base. I'm going to put that aside before we start plating things up. Okay, so like if you only have one pan, you really have to kind of time things. So I'm going to just take this off and we're going to fry the spuds spuds being the potatoes, just to start to char them, and then we'll get our chili again. Because, like, I guess if you are trying to cook a little bit more intricate food, it's about the combination of textures. So the spud, we want it to be fried, so I want it to be a little bit crunchy and soft on the outside. The chili will be soft, and then we want something a bit juicy, so we'll make some sort of a cucumber salsa to go with it. So that'll be, you know, a three component dish, which hopefully will get me a lift home.
What kind of oil do you typically cook with?
Okay, question there was what type of oil do I typically cook with, and it's the answer would be whatever we have. Oil's not for health, so if you're cooking with oil, it's just whatever you have. Normally, you know, if there's olive in the studio, I'll use olive. If there's sunflower at home, I'll use sunflower. Like, I'm not really that fussy about it, because typically if you're heating oil, you're losing all of the goodness, and most of oil is devoid of fibre anyway, so it's not really a health food. It's just a way of, like, in terms of cooking, what it enables is the surface temperature to kind of elevate, so you're going to get more caramelization, versus if you were to cook without oil. So I don't believe oil's a health food. Many people will argue otherwise, but yeah, that'd be worth. So with here, obviously the heat source is the bottom, so you want to ensure that all the cooking is coming from the bottom, like that all of them are touching the bottom if they're actual to brown. So So I just want to be a little bit careful that they don't brown too much, because we're cooking at a high heat.
There's only one temperature here, high or high.
Okay, that's kind of like the way we cook, so that's kind of cool. That works. I'm going to put a little bit of salt on them now. Although they did salt in the water, a lot of the salt is cooked inside it, so I want to get the surface area. Because potatoes can take a lot of salt, you'd be surprised. So we're looking for nice kind of browning, nice cooking.
You see what she's doing here, Steve?
This is how multi-purpose everything needs to be. Instead of an actual pillow inside the pillow, we shove our sweaters inside the cover.
That's cool. My God,
That's
you're
how
brilliant.
we keep it.
That's very cool, isn't it?
Except for when it's a really cold day and we just have a pillowcase flopping around and no pillow
That's
anymore.
really cool. Wow, I love that.
The tips and tricks.
Yeah, it really is. Well, it's the subtlety of kind of micro living, or what do you call it, van life, or what's
van life.
or efficient living, or
Minimalism?
yeah, 100% minimalism. When you are cooling a chip like this, just make sure, ideally put it in paper, it'll soak a bit of oil. If you don't have paper, just leave it out. And you don't want to stack them on top of each other, because it's just the water's gonna break down that lovely fried crispy surface. So get it down, make sure they just all have room to kind of cool down, because as they cool they evaporate water, and the water will create a steaming effect, which is what we don't want. We give the plate a rinse. So we could do something with mushrooms if I was more planned, but I wasn't really that planned. So that's all kind of good. We leave those aside, and we're going to make just a quick little salsa, so that we do have a few textures coming. So what are we doing with our salsa? We got cucumber. So now we're going to play find the veg, see what else we can put in. Ideally the nectarine would have been great. It would have been better in this, but we're going to turn it to lower heat. It won't cook as quick. Maybe we'll leave it off just before service. As a bean will cook and break down, it releases starch more, and it'll become a bit claggy, whereas I want it to be still fresh and kind of separate. So let's see what other veg we can find in here for a salsa. Okay, with more cucumber. Blueberries, I feel like I'm stealing blueberries. I don't want to steal blueberries. Apple. Oh, pepper, great. We'll go grape. Oh, nice. Chocolate bar. Okay, so we're gonna go with a pretty alternative salsa. But you know, I guess you gotta work with what you have. You know, salsa typically would be based around, you know, Spanish word for sauce. So, but in this case, in terms of the salsa that I'm going to be making, it's going to be based around the fresh juiciness, just to complement the dish and bring a different element to it. Oh, we had to do some chili sauce. Lovely. So right. Oh, there's a nice ball for a salsa. So with the salsa, you want avocado. Look at that! Right on time.
Jackpot!
Okay, great. So that's going to be a salsa cum guacamole. So with a salsa, at least the salsa in my head, I want consistency of size, of bite size. So there's a lot of small little bits. If there was a red onion, it's nice contrasting flavour. If there was a fresh leaf, I'd get a fresh leaf in there, like kind of coriander or cilantro, as you call it in your side of the world. So I'm just chopping it into small little bits. Because what the cucumber is going to be, that's going to be one of the main carriers. Like one of the main backbones is going to bring a juiciness, a freshness, a nice bite and contrast.
Why is that? Just because the avocado is a little bland?
Well, like avocado is fat based versus the cucumber is water based. So like with the avocado, I can imbue it or impart it with like kind of cumin or coriander or any type of other spices. Whereas on any of the watery veg, it'll just kind of brush off it really. So it won't really last. So it just means gives me more options. So I'm putting grapes, I'm just chopping them into little small bits. Again, it'll add a little bit of, what the heck's that? Grape in a salsa? That's weird. Do you like raw red pepper?
Do I like what?
Is everyone raw red pepper?
I
Okay.
like everything.
Okay, great. Capsicum, is that what you call it?
We call them just red peppers.
Yeah, same.
But in Australia, that's what they call them, innit? Fingers crossed the avocado's going to be good. Ready? Yeah! So this is how to do it if you're not going to do it in your hand. Just first of all get a spoon at it. Take as much of that edge as possible. Put it down on the board. Then go at it. Wow, it's very... As an avocado gets ripe, it gets more gooey. So okay, to make an avocado fat a lot more desirable, get lemon in it. The acid, one, will stop it browning, and two, it'll help just cut through that fat and make it a lot more desirable. Let's get a good bit of salt in there. Okay, now in terms of seasoning. We want to go a little bit conflicting to those other little bits, so we probably go with a little bit of this. It's easy, pre-done. Lazy. Let's go with cumin. I love cumin. And we go with something herby, will we? Dill. I hate dill. Rosemary. Thyme. Oh, lovely. Oregano. Basil. Let's go with a bit of basil, will we? Should be a bit different. Okay, and I get these 4.
You're a pro now.
Yeah, getting better. Well, because it's so small, there's only a few places it can be.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, which is nice. So I'm trying to mash it here to try to break down the avocado, and that'll be the main carrier of the salsa. So I can see it's a bit cloy, it needs more juice. I'm going to get more lemon in there. Okay, right, time to plate this dish up. So let's get our heat back on. With final seasoning, you want to balance the 5 kind of bases of flavour. Sweet, salty, acid, bitter, umami. Quite sweet, it needs a good bit of acid. Just it'll help cut through the kind of beaniness. It'll also give a kind of freshness to it. I've gone light in the spice because we are here in Ireland and we are Irish people. However, if you like, do you guys like it spicy?
Yeah.
I figured you'd say that. Okay, do you want it really spicy or a little bit?
No, a little bit.
However you like it.
Okay, well then I'm going to leave it mild. Just for we go, and we're seasoning it a little bit on the modest side. A little bit delicate. Like, because I guess with a dish like this you want to taste the elements. Like with this I don't want it to be too pronounced in the spices, and I want kind of the bang of the beans to come through, tomato sauce and the nectarine to add that sense of what the hell is that? And then this will contrast, this will bring fat, and then we got crunch. It's cool being able to do this, isn't it? And like you just stick your head out when it's a little hot and you go, look where we are. It's heavenly.
Nearing the end here. How you feeling, Chef?
This is great.
11 out of 10.
Well, let's wait and see, but let's hope we get a lift home. Eamon, darling. Woo! Et voila.
Ah, thank you,
You're very welcome
sir.
I'm impressed with that chili.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I haven't even tried it yet, but just like the color and the depth that you were able to get just from like very simple ingredients.
Yeah, delivery didn't go. Well, I think I have a habit of
over seasoning things and getting a bit complex, but let's keep it a little bit.
The chips are muy bien.
Very nice.
It's brilliant. I'm not kidding. The chili is incredible.
Yeah? I like it.
Really good.
It's kind of light. Like, rather than being a heavy chili and a really dense one, it's more...
Oh, but it's packed with flavor.
Okay, you like it? Okay,
Packed with flavor.
well, it's nice together. It would be nice.
Come on.
I like potatoes. It's a great day for potatoes.
Yeah, it's a great day for spuds.
Yeah.
It's a great day to have the happy pear sitting.
Wow, we've been spoiled with a sunrise swim, a beautiful podcast conversation with you guys, breakfast already, and now this.
What is
Good
life
day.
right now?
You are so generous.
good day.
Thank you.
Oh
It's a
man.
good day.
The capers is quite interesting actually in the salsa as well. There's salsa cum guacamole.
Yeah, wow.
So do I get a lift home? That's the big thing. Or am I the one wheel
Man,
home?
you can even drive home.
There we are.
You can have the camper for the weekend and we'll stay
wow.
out here just eating this.
Deal. Dudes, thank you for watching. Please check out Eamon and Bec. They live an amazing life, very inspiring, and their van is one of the most efficient kitchens I've ever cooked in.
Whoa.
Thank you for watching. You've anything to say or anything to?
No, it's the real deal, man. I'm gonna finish this.
Thanks for watching and sending loads of love. Cheers.